Hi, welcome to Stitch and Stir. I'm Samantha.
I'm Emmy, and we're catching up today.
Yeah, we're excited to talk to y'all about our knitting and yarn and just all the crafty things we're doing. And we do have an exciting announcement to start with. We are going to be hosting a virtual knit night in a few weeks.
Yes, we just picked the date. It's going to be on December 30th. Is that what we picked?
29th.
December 29th. That's what I wrote down.
Calendar.
It's a Tuesday.
Yes.
It's the week between Christmas and New Year's, so we hope that you'll be able to join us. So we're just going to be hanging out. You can check out the link in this page, and it'll take you to a Google form with the information.
Yeah. So
and it will be through Zoom.
Find like the description down below, and it will give you everything you need to know. If you're interested in coming, you can sign up and it will give you the link. If you do that and then can't make it, totally fine. Don't worry about it. It'll be a very casual, just fun chat and sit and knit, because I think I'm like very much missing doing that in person, really. So
yeah, and I think virtual has been a good option. I mean, if you have had a chance to virtually knit with friends, like we're doing this more frequently because it's nice and we need it. And so I really like doing that.
It's not hard to do, like, and to just sit at home too. Like, you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if now because of COVID I'm even more of a homebody, but I'm like, this is so nice to get to chat. And also
you don't have to. You can join us. Pants are optional. Pets are optional.
You don't stand up, right?
Yeah.
You never know what's on underneath. So
yeah,
pets. Yeah, that's like fun.
Professional from the bust up is what we're used to.
That's true. Oh, I always wear, for Zoom school, like teaching, distance learning, I always have slippers on, and it's like the best small joy of my day because I'm just like fuzzy slippers. It's fun. And I get to see lots of kids' pets too, which is cool. So do we want to start talking about like what we've been knitting too, our works in progress?
Yeah, we've both, obviously the Penguono, because we're doing that as our knit along right now, but we've both been doing a lot of Christmas knitting.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing Jessie May's puffy poof hat. It just came out Friday or so ago, and so I've knit 3. This is in a recycled merino from Echo View Yarn, or Echo View Mill fiber. Then I got the yarn on Tuesday at Bassin of California. And then I made 2 out of 1 skein each, Ritual Dyes Elder held with Farmer's Daughter Surrey Odang. So it's like soft, halo-y.
Like,
Odang. Yeah, that's what and so this is one of the Toft alpaca pom-poms.
Those are my favorite.
And then I do have a yarn one that I'll sew onto that. So those are, actually this one's for me. And this one I wore just to make sure it would work. So yeah, those are gifts. My pom-pom.
That's awesome.
And I'm knitting just a different slouchy beanie as well.
Beanies are kind of my go-to gift because they don't take too long and they don't take too much yarn. And I feel like people also, like, this sounds weird, but people know how to wear them. Like, versus like scarves.
A shawl.
Like shawls, like maybe, unless it's very large and it's like just draped, like, sometimes people are like, what the heck do I do with this? So,
and for shawls, like, depending on what colors you put in them, people are so picky, can be so picky.
Yeah. I did end up doing 2 cowls last year as gifts, which I think are good too, because they're like fast. And hats are so good. I have like one go-to hat pattern that I just use for every person. And it takes like 1 skein of worsted weight yarn. So I just like pick what color I think they would like, mostly in like Malabrigo Rios or Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and then I'm like, all right, here we go, like, do it again. So
and this hat takes a day. It takes me a day.
So good. Yeah, that's usually, if I start in the evening, like after dinner, I can get up to the decreases and then I pick it up the next night and do the finishing, which is it's like, I was like, oh yay, I'm done. So nice.
Yeah.
This year I did a hat, and I also knit a pair of lacy kind of fingerless mitts because I found a free pattern on Ravelry called the Cloudburst mitts, and they are like now my new favorite because they go super fast. I feel like the lace pattern is really easy. Like, I have it memorized. Like, I don't need to look at the pattern anymore. and it's like very potato chippy. Like I want to get to the next part.
Ooh.
And they turn out really nice. I have a pair for myself. I think I might have shown them on an episode, but I knit these for myself, these ones.
Oh, those are really nice. Yeah.
The lace pattern on it. It's really simple. So you have like, you know, it's symmetrical, and there's like one pair of the eyelets and the decreases, so it's super easy. And it doesn't take that much yarn. So I knit
fingering weight?
Yeah, fingering weight. So I knit a pair in hazel knits, fingering weight, the sock yarn, in this color for my sister-in-law, and I don't have them because I sent them like literally immediately after I wove in the ends. It was like the last thing to go in the package for my Christmas gifts, and I had to send it across country, so I like steam blocked the mitts so fast just to open the lace up a little bit, and I'm like, try, and I wrapped them, and I'm like, whatever, if they're moist, they'll dry out.
They'll dry eventually.
So I hope they're okay. But I like the ones I have for myself, so they're nice. They did like my coat I wear has Velcro on it, so there's like a spot that gets really gets stuck to myself all the time. But they're really nice and a free pattern, so I like go download that one.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
do you have any more to knit? Are you caught up with presents?
Well, my husband has like requested a hat and you know, I could knit that for him whenever, but he probably wants it for Christmas. So I'll do that. And that's like, you know, a 1-day project. I'll do that once school's out for winter break.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking for a few people, I really want to do those little mitten pattern, the ornaments from Jared Flood from Brooklyn Tweed. Oh, that's a great thing. That will take me not long at all, and people will like that.
That's cute. That's a cute idea.
It's like that's super simple, and it's just good to like add on gifts, because I feel like sometimes like I want my gifts to be meaningful and have a good thing, and sometimes I like want more, which I'm trying to like not feel like there's a certain number of gifts I should get people, right, in my family, and that's just, you know, it's kind of silly to go overboard, but I feel like
that's like so fun. Yeah,
like add-on kind of thing, and it's still like a whole present because it's an ornament they get to keep. So I think that'll be good. I'm appreciative that they have that few pattern. So if you haven't checked it out, go on to the Brooklyn Tweed website, because it's like in all different like weights of yarn too. So, and
it's just like a few inches, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really like they're really small. They're cute. So I'm like, well, I can go through my like scraps of projects this year, and try to find some like festive colors. I knit a lot with like red and pink and green.
I was gonna say I probably have some red and green somewhere.
Yeah. So I think I'll definitely make one for my mom, and probably Kevin's mom, and we'll see how many I do. But that definitely like I'm like, oh, 2 of those, that'll be good.
Yeah. That's good. I'll look those up too. I agree. It's always nice we did kind of our like finalizing, like what do we have for everyone, gift bags, things, and they look great, but I'm still like, oh, I guess we could put more, but you're right. There's no right number or gift, but it's just like fun to keep finding things. And and I feel on top of it, and we've still got 2 weeks. So I'm like, in the next 2 weeks, if we find things, they're still going to go.
Yeah. And I think once I get like someone like a kind of thoughtful gift, I like want to just do things that are like, you know, treats and like fun things like that. So they'll have something to unwrap, but it's like candy or like, you know, like stuff like that. Cause that's like enjoyable, I think, for me too. Like when I get that kind of stuff. So that's
cool. Do you do any Christmas baking as gifts?
I have in the past. I don't think I'm going to do it. Well, I might do it this year for some friends, but I usually always do some Christmas baking. I have, I just got this year the Christmas Baking with Kim Joy book from.
Have
you seen that?
Yeah. Oh, not her book, but I've seen that season.
It's so cute. Like everything is like adorable in it. And so I think I'm going to make a few things out of that and try them out. But I feel like I'm going to just do it more as like an activity for myself at home. this because to be festive, since there's like I'm not going out at all. So
yeah, we've done a lot of the drive-in lights to feel festive, and that's been really fun.
I want to try that. I haven't done that yet. We've do neighborhood drives.
Yeah,
we did like a drive last night. We went to go get donuts and looked at lights on the way. So it was good.
Yeah, I mean, we did zoo lights too, which is perfect. All you need is like we brought our own hot tea, had a great Christmas playlist, and
I heard that was actually really good. Like people,
yeah.
So
you get to drive through the zoo. That's really cool.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. The other thing I started working on, well, I was thinking about the other episode we did where I showed my sock tube things.
Yes.
I should do some socks and I could show them on the show. So I picked up a pair yesterday and I have them almost done. So I just have to do the toes, heels, and cuffs on these socks because they're knit on, the tubes of the socks are knit on a circular sock machine, which my friend owns. And so here's one sock done.
Looks perfect.
Yeah, and this like yarn feels really good, so I like it. I'm not 100% sure what the yarn is anymore, because I cranked these sock tubes a while ago.
Tubed them a long time ago, yeah.
And I don't have the tag, but I'm pretty sure it's a Christmas colorway from like 2 years ago from a homespun house, and I think it's Christmas at Hogwarts. But I can't be 100% sure. So that's what I'm putting it in on Ravelry as, because I looked at, I searched people's stashes to see if that was what the yarn looks like. Because I know I own that skeins, I think. So
or you have at some point.
It's either this one or some another one that I have cranked up. So I think it is this one. But it's nice. It's like very like dusky, like purple, and then like amber, like fireplacey kind of colors, like, so it's kind of cute. But then I have the second sock, I have the cuff and the toe done, but no heel. So that might be this evening I will finish it.
That's perfect. So speaking of a homespun house, you're doing their advent this year.
Yeah.
I told Chris, my wife, that I was like, I want an advent next year. She's like, okay, well, let me know when to get it at Christmas time. And I was like, no. You have to order them in June.
For your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're,
because I've been loving watching yours. I've been loving the Knitted Wit Attitude of Gratitude one. Yeah. It's been so fun, right? And it's never occurred to me like to do this for myself, because I'm like, I don't want minis, but like they look so fun and I would do something, and there's so many good advent patterns out right now too. And
a homespun house, she's been knitting them into a blanket right now. She kept one advent for herself, and what she's been doing is holding it with a skein of fingering with stellina that's just white, and then like having that go throughout the whole blanket. And so then it's like DK weight yarn. And so she knits like one stripe across every day. And it's like she's keeping up with it. But I'm like, that blanket's huge already, because it's not fingering weights anymore. But it looks so lovely because it like blends the yarns kind of together a little bit more.
Yeah, what I'm loving about yours is the yarns are so cohesive. I also kind of have, a fear of advents just being like 23 random mini skeins that don't go with anything. Yeah. So I love the idea of them all being in one project.
My advice, like to select one that you think you would like, is like if you go to a dyer's like website and look at their colors, and if you think, oh, I like just kind of the palette of colors, like how they all look together, that is a good way to choose. Because I've been seeing some other ones that I'm like, maybe next year I'd get that one. Like Earl Grey fiber. Those are so beautiful because they all are very cohesive together. She did like themed ones. Like I think there's like did she do the Lord of the Rings? I don't know. There's like the Office like TV show. I think the Lord of the Rings might be someone else.
She did multiple options for advent calendars.
Yeah, like the amount of work that would be. But,
yeah.
But yeah, that's why they go live like on people's websites in like June or July or May even sometimes, because it takes a lot of work. So if you're interested in getting one next year, like start your budget now.
Yeah.
Save a little bit, and then in June you're like ready to go.
Budget.
Yeah. It's a good gift to yourself too.
Yeah. Especially if you forget about it for those 6 months and then it shows up and then you're like, oh yeah, I did this for me.
Yeah, that was one, it was great. I also saw another one that looked really good was, I saw on Instagram the Farmer's Daughter fiber one looked really nice, like just nicely packaged, and I was like, I'll check that one out next year as well. And her stuff's beautiful too. So I feel like you can't really go too wrong with it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so fun. Like I open it every morning. I post it on Instagram every morning. If you follow me, you can see my little video of me struggling to open the box every day.
That's the best part because I'm like, this is going to take forever. And I skip that video and go straight to the picture of the
They're never very long. They're like 10 seconds because I cut it out because I like punch it and then that's where the video ends. And my sister will message me like, she's messaged me a few times like, ha ha ha, like you can't open it because I cut it before I like stop and I like pry the little door open with like a tapestry needle or my knitting needle, and I don't show that on camera. But yeah, then I'll show the little mini skate HD, so you can definitely just like click and see those. But I also have a saved highlight on my like the stories highlight, so if you want to see them. Yeah,
I love watching those. Yeah. So yeah, that's great. The other thing that, as you can tell, I'm wearing my Penguono.
So exciting!
I know. I finished. I mean, do you remember all the hesitancy I had going into it? I was like, it's not going to be wearable. It's going to be a weird size. It's not going to take me. I'm not going to like the colors I pick. And then I finished in a week and a half, and I've worn it so many times.
Like I know your personality is like that, where you get like into an obsessive like excitement, like, and it's not like a weird obsessive, it's just like you get really excited about something and then you're so fast like or like dive down a rabbit hole of something, a new interest. So
and this felt like potato chip knitting. I was like, oh look, I'm done with the side, oh look, I'm done with the other side, and I knit it symmetrically as I go. My colors are pretty symmetrical, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. I'm like planning another one in maybe slightly less obnoxious colors, but they'll probably be equally obnoxious. I think I like the way it fits and the length, maybe just like long sleeves. I don't know. I have some bulky yarns that would be good to kind of work in it.
It is like really, like I know you were so worried about gauge and like how the yarns played together. And I think once you started, you just like had fun with it, right? Like
totally. And it feels really intuitive because I actually didn't knit the back length to the whole thing because I got to almost, you have to like knit 60 rows and I like got almost to 60 and I was like, this is fine. And then like it gets intuitive because it tells you where to pick up and you have to decide which numbers are important, right? Like the sleeve number versus the length number. And so it was a lot more intuitive to knit than I thought it was going to be as well.
Yeah, I think in like ultimately the shape is pretty simple. Like all the pieces add up to like a kind of rectangular shape. Which helps, I think, if you're like kind of picturing how it will around your body. Maybe mine was like weird because I kept looking at it and thinking like this is very wide, like the depth of the arm, and I was like like around the side of my body. And then I tried it on and I was like, once I got the shoulder seam together, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like it looks great. Like it has the right amount of ease into it that
you totally have to trust the process.
And it was like not even like, and it was just like my shoulders too, not even like the pregnant baby bump. Like I was like, that could come and go and it will still fit fine. So, and mine, where I'm at, let's see if I can hold it in like a certain way. So many ends. I have both fronts done.
That's awesome.
And the sides and the little shoulders. And so I just have the sleeves. And then the like collar and the bottom band.
So the bind off I thought was going to be really long, but it actually was fine once you get into a good rhythm and a good the I-cord. I really liked knitting the sleeves. I thought the sleeves were very clever, and I really liked this part. The side panel, how it goes up into the sleeve.
That's cool. I need to like just kind of put it back on the needles because I took a break this week. I think I stopped knitting on it like last Sunday, and I was on a pretty good groove going too. And and I stopped knitting on it that day to start the mittens I made. But I mean, I love it, like, because I love the colors. This is like
the colors are so good. They're so you.
So good. And I found sparkly yarn. Last time I was talking about getting some sparkle yarn, and the rest of it I'm literally going to knit all in the sparkly yarn. Like, I have 2 different colors. I'm so excited about this. I think this light pink with this, like,
that's amazing. You found them like in your stash?
No, I found them at
the
yarn store. The lovely for yarn's sake.
Recent stash acquisition. Got it.
Well, I knew that they had the Madeline Tosh merino light with the stellina in it, and so that's what this is. And so I'm just holding it triple. It's so shiny. I think this one is like a holographic glitter.
That is so good. It's gonna be so great to have like shiny parts. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do the like bottom band in this and the collar, and then the sleeves all in this color, and then I'm gonna like stripe them for the I-cord, like how in Steven West. I started striping I-cord. Yeah. Is it easy? Is it hard? I don't know.
It's easy, but it takes forever.
Yeah.
I only ended up doing it for the bottom.
I just like want it to be like those sparkly stripes of those colors, because those are like the best. It's just like those colors are like perfect, and I was like, I only was like, maybe I'll just buy one, and I'm like, no, I need both.
Yeah, I think I want my second one to be less marl and more solid colors like yours. But I did also not weave in any ends. I just tied them off and then trimmed them all to the same length.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's a funky sweater, so it's just like tassels. If you see one, like there's some on the sleeves, they just look like funny fringe.
Yeah.
Again, I've worn it to work twice. Like I've worn this as a business casual sweater twice.
That's so cool. I feel like, I mean, and you had it on top of a dress you had sewn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. Like any sort of like kind of simple silhouette underneath, or like with.
Totally. So I wore it with Helen's Closet, the York Pinafore, which is just like a very straight. And then on Friday, I wore it just over jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
It looks good. I loved seeing your finished picture, because I was just like, that's so good. And
I don't know that anyone's joined us in this knit along, but it's been such good motivation. And we've been getting a lot of comments like, I really want to do one now. I'm really like, it's been on my list. If it's on your list, just do it. It's a lot simpler than I think I set it up for myself to be.
Yeah. And honestly, like I knit so much fingering weight and like lighter weight stuff. It goes so fast. This is so exciting. It's growing so quickly. We're this far, and we've only been working on it for like 2 weeks ish.
Yeah.
So,
and we gave ourselves till February. Like,
I know that's laughable now.
Yeah.
You're gonna make your second one by then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I'll make a baby one by then, because the tiny ones are amazing.
Yeah. Are the tiny ones, have you looked at the pattern? Are they all fingering weight?
I can't remember. I think it might be.
It's probably similar in terms of combo.
It might be DK, but it's just like the same thing, just like miniaturized.
Yeah.
So
I imagine that'd be so fast.
I know. Like, ooh. And I have a bunch of like random yarns too in my stash that are maybe not like my colors, but like I'm like, that would be so cute for a little baby boy, like blues and speckles and purple, and
yeah,
it's so good. So I'm excited about it. I'll do it at some point.
Yeah.
Because I like to start the year with like a good selfish knitting project too. So we'll see what I
as opposed to
just something like a New Year's, like get excited kind of thing.
Totally. I do appreciate, I mean, where we met, our friendiversary was at Knitted Wit's cast on party, the selfish knitting. That's where we first met 5 years ago. Yeah. And so I feel like I have gotten into that habit of like January 1st cast on, even if there's other things on the needles, to just have a beginning of the year project to start.
That's true. And I'm like, most of my knitting is for myself anyway. So
yeah,
selfish knitting, kind of a joke.
It's just deciding which sweater I want first in the year.
Well, and it's like a new year, new start, like new cool thing. And I get really into like the make 9 or like any like planning out cool projects, even though I like literally never finish that. So I think it's just like fun to dream a little.
Yeah, I think I have a couple of sweaters where I love the yarn, but I made it thinking I needed all this ease.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in 2021, I want to kind of re-knit some of those sweaters that I love, because like one's a shelter sweater and I love it, but I would love it more if it had less ease and more length.
Yeah. Are you gonna?
So I'm just, I am. And I mean, I'm gonna like knit it directly from one sweater into another, which I think will be a fun experience and maybe a little frustrating at myself, because like, you know how sometimes when you make mistakes in a sweater and you correct them poorly, I'm afraid of finding those and it just like making me have to break yarn somewhere to like fix whatever I thought I was fixing. But I think that'll be fun.
That I don't trust my own intuition about how something should be, and then I come to regret it at the end, about like fit or like,
yeah,
because it is kind of hard to like anticipate how something is going to come out. Like even with this, like I was like, this is looking really huge, like I hope it fits, I'm just going to keep going and whatever, it'll be big. But yeah, like others, like yoke sweaters, like when I try it on like at the bust before I split the sleeves, sometimes I'm just like I have to see how it fits. And then like also how the yarn behaves, it's kind of like I'm testing it out. See, so I have one that I started like when I first was like during the stay at home, like in March, when school was like actually canceled. I started one, and it was just it looked so huge, and I like my friends who I showed it to were like, it'll be fine, and I'm like, I don't know. So I said like literally it's been in timeout for a long time, and I want that sweater. I love the yarn, so I don't know.
Yeah, it is hard, especially like knitting the first sweater I'm going to redo. I knew it was going to be huge, but according to the measurements, it was only going to be this amount of bust, right? Or this amount of ease. But ease looks so different on everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the ease also, if you are learning to knit different types of sweaters too, a good thing to think about is the construction, because how ease will look on a raglan sleeve versus a yoke or like a drop shoulder is going to look different. And I think that's like something that I've noticed, like what kind of ease is my preference for those different fits is different. And I don't know if that's the same for everyone, but
no, and I think that makes sense. And it takes me each sweater I knit to realize what kind of ease I like. Like I actually like less ease than recommended. Mm-hmm. But I also have such blind faith in so many designers to do it right that I'm like, they know what's best for me, but I know what's best for me.
I like for a drop shoulder sweater, I like between 10 and 14 inches of ease. Sometimes, well, minimum for me is like 6 inches of ease on that, honestly.
Yeah.
But like yoke sweaters, I like don't want ease like in the Under Armour bust. So it's like
you don't want that pinchy.
I know. So it's like, but I like also like the feeling of like kind of a bigger sweater. So I have to like adjust in my head, like, no, don't choose that size. Choose like the real size that you need. So, or like go to the lower end of that ease kind of guideline that people give you.
Yeah, and it is nice, so many designs and patterns today, because they're so inclusive and have such a range, even if there's an intended ease or recommended ease, mm-hmm. They have such a wide range of measurements you could get anywhere in them.
Yeah, I love looking at people's pattern or project pages on Ravelry to see if there's someone whose build is very similar to mine and like what size they knit, because I'm always looking at like, okay, that's how I want mine to look. Okay, what size did they choose? And I've had people message me on Ravelry too, like, what's your bust size, because you knit this size and that's the one I'm thinking of, like my bust is this, like, and I'm like, it's the same, yay, go for it, you can do it. And so it makes me really happy. And people are nervous about that because it feels like they're asking a personal question, but I'm like, I want your sweater to fit too, and I want mine to fit. Like, let's help.
And it's like, I do appreciate that community of Ravelry, because when I do a lot of yarn subs. So that's what I feel like I get a lot of messages about on my rep project pages is like, how did you do a yarn sub? And I think every time someone asks, I'm like, how many people didn't ask? Do I need to make my notes more like?
Yeah, that's what I do too, is like, I try to make sure now that I put my bust size in there. Like I'm knitting this with, this is my bust. This is how much it actually measured out when I blocked it. Like check my gauge afterwards and make sure that it matched, and like so it can show on the pictures, because people do like appreciate that. So
yeah,
I try to remember.
yeah,
I did that a lot this summer because I knit a lot of like tops, like short sleeve or sleeveless. So it seemed they went fast, so it was easy for me to make sure I added in all that information.
Yeah, I do. I should get more detailed on a lot of my Ravelry pages.
You never know. You never know who's looking at it. This is it for info, because like I look at them all the time. And any project I make, I look through like literally every single person's project.
Yeah, and I do a lot of test knits, so I'm is usually one of the first projects up there sometimes, and I'm like, I should be putting better notes in. I might not, but I should be.
That's good. Yeah, I will. One of my sweater plans for the New Year's is the Once in Floral sweater by Maxim Sear.
Oh, okay.
The rose.
It is 3 color work. I think you could do it in 2, and then because I've seen this sweater several times up close. I think you could do it in 2 because one of the strands is really long, and then just duplicate stitch that inside color.
I'm like,
so that's what I'll recommend.
I'm gonna add in a 4th color, so I'm like fearless. I don't care.
Oh, that's amazing. That's gonna be such a good sweater goal.
Yeah, that's the one I've been recently on Ravelry trying to think about the size, because I don't. Well, and also my body's changing, so I'm like, well, when am I gonna wear this? What size could I anticipate my bust being? Because I don't know what my bust size is anymore, and I don't know what it will be after having a baby. So it's like, I'm like, this is so risky. So I'm like, should I go up a size, or will that just feel too big because it's yoke? I don't know. So
do you have yarn planned for it?
Yeah, I got Brooklyn Tweed Loft when Knitting Bee was closing for the sweater, because I felt like it'd be the perfect like Rose City, like Portland sweater too.
Yeah.
So I have for the whole body cast iron, which is like the charcoaly black
gray
color. Like long johns, which is the red for the rose, and then I also have button jar to do green leaves. That was where I was going to add the extra color.
That's awesome.
And a white background for the roses. So
he's got such good color work yokes.
Yeah. So I just am like, I'm gonna make that fit me regardless. I'm like, I'm gonna have to figure out what size though, so we'll see. But there is like, you know, it'll just fit tighter or it'll fit a little looser. I just need to find somewhere in that range that is not too tight or too loose. So
awesome.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you're like hoping to knit?
No, because I know it's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I do
your own desires too.
Yeah, I have one of my long-term dream sweaters that I finally finished acquiring because it's the fold lines by Brooklyn Tweed pattern fold lines by Nora Gone. And it's just a beautiful 1/1 cable that creates these really geometric shapes, but it's a ton of DK yarn. So I've kind of, I finally got the yarn in Knitcraft and Knittery, the DK from Australia. Ooh. Took me a couple of shopping trips to acquire enough yarn, you know. I don't know when, but that's like at the top of my queue, and it has been for a long time. It's just such like a dream sweater for me. Yeah. But I don't know when I'll start. Maybe 2021's the year now that I've got the yarn. But also sometimes I get these dream sweaters and then something else comes out and I'm like, oh, never mind. That sweater's off the list. But this sweater's been on for long enough that I'm like, okay, it's gonna happen. I have the yarn.
I feel like pressure when I like have the dream sweater that I want to make, that I'm like, I want it to turn out so perfectly, or it's in my head that I like don't even want to start. Or it's kind of like still, it's like, oh, it's like, that's gonna be so great, and I keep it for myself, where really I'm like, that'll be great to wear too, like you should do it. So that's, I'm trying to like keep in mind, I'm like, I want to knit from stash more in 2021. I always say that, but I think budget wise, I need to stick to that.
Yeah. I think if I can knit another Penguono just from stash, I can justify starting to refill it, because it will leave so many holes in my stash. And I don't consider myself a stasher, which I know seems crazy to non-knitters when they look at how much yarn I have, but I have one IKEA cupboard of yarn, and it's not a big one.
Not a lot.
So I don't consider myself a stasher, especially because so much of my stash are sweater quantities.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know that one sweater and I'm going to have a gaping hole in my stash.
A gaping hole.
Yeah.
That's great. I have a lot of stash. I should do a de-stash soon sometime, because there's things like I have too many in my queue where I have the yarn for it. So
yeah,
create those gaping holes in the stash. So,
totally.
Yeah. So I can continue to support small businesses in the community and dyers and creators, because that brings me joy, and them, I'm sure.
Totally. And we've mentioned that before. Buying yarn is a separate hobby from knitting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I probably do that one frequently.
Yeah, I'd love to, on our knit night that's coming up, I will gladly share my stash with people because again, non-knitters don't believe me that I'm not a stasher, but I know that knitters don't think I have a lot of yarn. So
I will gladly not share my
I'll set up my laptop in front of my stash for our knit night, which is going to be on December 29th, 2020. So hopefully people can join us.
We'll finish the year with a positive note. So it'll be good. So look, if you're interested, look for the link in the description box down below.
And we'll post it on Instagram as well. Yeah.
So thanks for joining us today. And we always love checking in and chatting about knitting. So we hope
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.